everybody to do it? All you gotta do is throw a camera.
Yeah, good. Full of wood. All right, we on? Everybody recording? Okay. So once again, real basic knife. It's the Cardelica. It's 2.5 inches long. It's not a gigantic, huge fighting knife. I'm not going to take a big swing. Just so right there, that cut that deep. Wow. So think about how thick your quad is on your best day. Think about how thick your wrist is on your best day.
Don't cut.
Right? It doesn't take much at all to do what we were doing. And if you take a look at the way we were kind of cutting the arm, once again, I'll put it in place, and then from here, and you can stab or not, right? I'm just going to drive that through. So that's your pressure cut that we were doing, and that, look what that sort of damage that's doing. If we pull this leg up just actually, we can kind of get a view of
twice
that.
as deep. That one probably went to this.
Yeah, so look at the range of cut from there, and my motion was very small. So it goes from here all the way down. And that's to the dowel with this tiny blade. Okay.
Through denim, through the rep, through the barbecue sauce.
The denim really doesn't matter at this point because you're compressing it. So you can see that's a pretty good wound on that, right?
Could have been a great porky.
Yeah. Next, let's put that back on. Thank you.
He's gonna cut the wood in half, I think.
It's not doing anything.
There you go.
It's just sitting here. It said maximum recording time reached.
Well, then you do it again.
All right, can we tighten up the denim?
Yeah,
right?
Stuck there.
So some of you have that training knife. That's a copy of this. This is the Yojimbo 2 that Mike designed, and it's designed. It looks like a box cutter on purpose because this is a cold Wharncliffe style blade.
You don't have
What
enough
happens when you do this
There's
is
not
it
enough
transmits
millimeter recording.
all the leverage your arm produces into the edge, right? So the edge cuts the tissue, which drives the knife in more, which cuts the tissue, which drives the knife in more, and so on and such forth. So a small knife gets the benefit of the leverage of the full length of your arm to do these cuts.
And this is the first cut you're making with that knife.
Yeah, we haven't, and this is almost no fun because it cuts so deep so fast. It doesn't, here actually, let's hold this one, let's put it on the ground. Just one side on the ground, right? So if you take a look at the way this is set up, and the same thing with this thrusting, so the point enters, this acts as a ramp which shoves a cutting edge into the tissue, which clears the tissue so it goes in even deeper. So if you think about stabbing really hard, I didn't put anything on it, I'm hardly holding the thing, and it's going 2 inches deep. So that went all the way to the dowel, yeah. There was no screaming, yelling coming at you with this because it just cuts that nicely. So if we find, let's roll this just a little bit, and we'll go. There's some good. That's some tasty meat right here. So now, if you look at, see if we can do this without hitting the window. So we've introduced the knife here. I sink and I log it in, and you cut through. Where'd it go? There it is. All the way down to the dowel. And in fact, I can't know if you can see that, but it's scored the dowel
That's the dowel.
into that. Right? It makes a huge difference in terms of what you're doing with it. And that's the importance of edge geometry, right? And the way a knife is set up. Not every knife will do this. Some are designed for different jobs. Not everything's good for everything, right?
I mean, that cut the dowel.
Yeah.
More than scored it. I mean, you put a dent into it, like a nick.
So that's always. Let's try this. I haven't cut with this thing yet, so this is pretty
Here's
exciting.
One last piece of flat you got.
Well, we're gonna do 2 cuts on this. I'm gonna cut here.
That's the same type of knife, but it has the
This is made by a custom knife maker out of Arizona, who was kind enough to give this to me. Actually, let's lift this. I'm gonna hold it. One of the things we'll do is we'll kind of wrap the arm, and then we hold the arm and we do what's called a drop cut. So I put this here, and you slice through. Oh, that's pretty nice. You can see that. Once again, very little motion on my part. Now this has an edge on the back as well, and when we start to do defensive things, reverse grip. We'll cut across the arm and then we pull back. All right? This is going to be a little bit hard to show on here. I don't know if it will or not. Come up this way. Can I get somebody to hold this? Just hold that down. Everybody see this? We'll see if this works. I've never done the test cutting. First. Yeah, like that. There, there's some juiciness. Right? So from here, you'll plow across the top of the arm. Cuts like that, and then this with the reverse edge, you can cut. And, oh, that's nice. And hook that back in. Right, and now when we start to do defensive against a knife, yeah, that was that.
That was a tricep. This was the bicep.
That works pretty nice.
Do me a favor, smile.
And so then we're going to do one more cut. Let me hand this to somebody too. 'Cause this one is rust almost instantly if you're not careful with it. Yeah, please. It's very sharp, so don't cut yourself. Then what we'll do to finish this off. Anybody got a knife they want to try cutting something with?
It's inside.
Go get it. I'll let you take a cut and then and then I'll show you what we call as a drop cut to finish it off. But if we pull this up while we're waiting for him to get his knife, right? That's pretty impressive cuts with small knives and no swinging, going full Braveheart on anybody. Look how that, I don't know what cut that was, but my finger's still going through to the other side of it.
That was a pressure cut on the leg.
Yeah, was it? Oh, with the Yojimbo 2. So it started here, it ended up, it's actually coming out the bottom down there.
Did you guys see this? Like scored on the wood?
Give it a try there. Yeah. Put the denim back on. Let's find a spot down here towards the bottom for you.
I was gonna wear these pants tomorrow, by the way.
It's very flat shades. Scaring the locals. You want to?
Quite common with us.
Not bad.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a cricket.
Oh, good. Yeah, nice knife. So let's take a look at. We'll kind of put this down, and I'll show you. Put it down on the ground like this.
Try.
You do? Oh, go grab a knife real quick.
Here, hold this.
And then I'll show you the drop cut.
I got meat fingers.
Yeah.
Meat
So
fingers.
essentially, the best defense against a knife is just run away.
Always a good idea.
You're just holding it.
Just hold
Because
it.
I do not want my bone
dull as
barred.
hell.
Nobody does.
I can't.
Now, admittedly, this is a pretty trained thing that we're doing. It doesn't take a lot of training, but it does take a little bit of training. There you go.
Can I
Just
see?
you
Can I
know
see?
he's gonna come
Yeah,
back with
please.
some shenanigans.
I mean, we said knife, not a machete.
Doesn't
feel
that sharp.
Who's
Huh?
got my knife?
You know what? It actually is pretty sharp, but it was shaving, but not. I usually get mine a lot sharper.
Mark III Tonto.
See, look.
Blade there, dude.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There's somewhere.
Now do that because you do it at the bottom because I want to do it
Yeah,
to
he
the
wants to
top.
do- okay. There's something there for this.
So here's the thing about a knife like this. If you look at
This one here, right?
no, it's the top of this one. Yeah. So this has a huge edge profile. If you don't mind, right? Oh, it's a Strider. That's a great knife, right? Because this knife, it's more, it's good for combat and stuff, but it's really designed like you won't ever break that knife. That Yojimbo 2 I have, the tip is very narrow because it's not designed for everything, right? So if you look at something like this, if you look at the sheer amount of metal here, this is probably far more likely to be used to like pry off a window or open something than it ever is to use it on a person, right? And then if you look at the edge geometry, look how thick of a profile that knife has. So it's going to be a lot harder to cut with this than with this, right? That's just the nature of it. And the Tanto design that Bob Lum had, this is a Bob Lum designed Tanto that a lot of people ripped off, right? The Americanized Tanto thing. It's super strong, but it's not the best stabber, right? Which gets a lot of people ticked off. But it really isn't the best stabber in the world. But you will never break this knife.
Are we stuck in cinder block where the concrete is?
No
so I can
kidding.
step up on it and get over a wall?
Yeah, you won't break that knife, especially a Strider. You won't break it. The Dwayne makes bomb-proof knives. All right, so the last cut we like to do, it's kind of showy, but it's fun. It's called a drop cut. And the way I envision this, you guys, those of you who grew up with Bugs Bunny, you know how he picked up himself by his ears?
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to pick up both feet. I'm not going to hop. I'm going to pick up both feet and drop. Okay? So you stick the knife in, and you pick up both feet, and you drop. So now your body weight makes the cut, and it comes down and through. Right?
That's again to the down.
Yeah, and then some. With that knife.
Wow. That is a clean splitting cut.
Yeah. So, as you can tell, you don't need much of a knife. You just need some training, right? 2.5-inch blade. It will do everything you'll ever need as long as you have that. Okay? So now let's take a drink of water and we'll come back. And now think about what we've been doing to each other in there, but use this when you do it. Just don't really use this, but mentally use that and say, holy cow, it makes a big difference.